Hey, what's up? What's going on, people? Session number 2 from video number 12, I believe. But anyway, like I told y'all, this is going to be Ravens Central. This Lamar jersey that I call it that perp, right? I like it, that 8, you know what I mean? It's clean and fresh. They had a great celebration. I know it's a Sunday again, and we're a day late with the video. But y'all know the beatdown he put on the Lions. So I'm going to review it, talk about it in detail in a moment. This is our session when we talk about the black quarterbacks. Just go over their games and just rehash them and, give them props and talk about them. Because that's what this is all about. The Black Quarterback Forum YouTube channel and the Black QBs in Effect.com website. So we're going to talk about the black quarterbacks like nobody else. So that's what we do. Okay? So with that being said, we had a lot of black quarterbacks in the NFC win their games. And I talked about Tyrod Taylor in the first session about him being the first black quarterback to win for the Giants, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in the year 2023, about to enter into World War III, and the Giants decide, okay, it's a good time for a black quarterback to win. Okay? Before we have World War III. Okay? It's a good time. And what's funny, Tyrod Taylor and Jalen Hurts had similar stats. Very close. And they both won their games. Tyrod Taylor was like 18 for 29, 279 yards, 9.6 average, and you got to push the ball down the field. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 4 for 29. He was sacked 4 times for 29 yards. So it brought his passing down to 250. But he won the game, and then Tyrod is benefiting from, all his time in the league and being that backup that people can depend on. So where the Giants will go, no one knows, but they know they got a good backup in Tyrod. Desmond Ridder, it's like the Falcons are winning in spite of him. You keep seeing all these negative articles about Desmond Ridder out there. He did have 3 fumbles in the game. One of the fumbles, my man talked about before. Like when you fumble and you go outside the end zone, that's hard for any team to take at any point in the game, right? You go into the end zone, the ball pops out, and it goes it fumbles out of the end zone, and then it's a touchback.
Yeah.
That's a tough rule. They thinking about changing it. That's tough. That was one of his fumbles. So, but he was 19 for 25, 250 yards, and 10-point yard average per pass. No touchdowns, no INTs. He was sacked 1 time for 5 yards. He looks good at times, but then they just kind of be out of kilter, out of sync. And if you guys watch the videos, I always talk about efficient offenses, and they're never efficient. They have penalties, and they just shoot themselves in the foot most of the time with something. So one of my next favorite, though, is Geno. They beat the Cardinals. Geno is Geno. He was 18 for 24, 219 yards, 9.1 average. They're pushing the ball down the field. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. He was sacked 2 times for a 16-yard loss. So he ended up with 203 yards passing. These QBRs and the ratings, at the end of the day, I guess, I was thinking about this, and I haven't really touched on it much here with the first 2 quarterbacks. But I guess when a quarterback, and they're sitting down in negotiation time with all this shit bad as far as statistics, right? Because at the end of the day, if you walk off the field with the win, it's all that matters. You can have the worst rating ever for that day or even for the year. But if you win, you take those stats to the bargaining table, they know. So, I mean,
look at Desmond Ridder. 3 fumbles, fumbling out the back of the end zone. You still get the win.
I know.
That's great.
I won, coach. That's all that matters. So, I mean, and we talked about the QBR and how ESPN created all that. So, I mean, it matters, but then at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But the question with Seattle is, to me, is will they challenge the Niners for the division, and can they make it to the conference championship? Because like we talked in the first video, there's only 2 or 3 good teams per conference.
Yeah.
So can they be one of the best teams and make it there with Geno quarterback and the Seahawks? Can they push the Niners to win that division?
I just say it's inconsistency. I got more faith in the Eagles than I do the Seahawks. And we know how I feel about the Eagles. But the Seahawks is just the inconsistency.
Right.
Which, you know what I'm saying, leads me to can y'all really do it when it matters? And maybe it comes down to Geno. And a lot of it does come back down to the quarterback and how the quarterback plays.
It does on all these teams, and that's usually one of the defining factors. So, with that being said, moving on. One of my losses in the NFC was Jordan Love. You know, you guys, I love Jordan Love. He's young. This is his first year starting. I mean, he's going to have the ups and downs. I think he's going to be an okay quarterback. I think he's going to be a very serviceable quarterback in the NFL, despite what everybody's saying. It's just me watching what I've watched. But just for this particular game, he was 21 for 31, only 180 yards, 180, that is, 5.8, not getting the ball down the field that much. And y'all going to see, based on the statistics, you got to push the ball about 10 yards down the field. You have to. So there he's suffering a little bit. He did have 2 touchdowns, but those were probably some empty calories. But that game was close. Somebody had to win, I believe.
Yeah.
They had a chance late there. So, and he wasn't sacked. And
I mean, it's crazy how almost similar him and Russell Wilson numbers are. And it's almost like, for some reason, whoever has the highest QBR in a sense kind of wins the game.
And I haven't mentioned any of the QBRs.
It's crazy, though.
Well, man, Smeeze can mention them. But I mean, to me, it's I don't know. It's a stat that's worthless. I mean, you know.
Because, I mean, his QBR was 77.8 and Russ's QBR was 78.6. So Russ was like slightly higher, and both their games was good, but then you got Geno with a 68.5, and Geno had the better game than all of them.
That's why I say I write it down, but it doesn't mean anything.
Like,
I mean, at the end of the day.
Geno missed 6 passes, Jordan missed 10. Like,
how does that compute?
I guess that one interception really matters.
Yeah.
But then you get in there with Watson with a 0.3 QBR for the game. We'll get there in a little bit. You can end up with that too.
All right. And finally, before I get to Lamar Jackson and his stellar performance, there was Jalen Hurts, who beat Miami Dolphins in touring the track team. I think they show how to beat the Dolphins. You know, just play that 2 deep.
Yeah, 2 deep show.
Right. You got to tackle when they catch the pass, though.
Yeah.
And you got to score when you got the ball.
Yeah.
And he don't like the Eagles. I do like the Eagles. He gonna talk about why he don't like the Eagles.
I mean, the Eagles are okay, but they're not.
They're not top notch.
The high. They're not the high.
Right. I think Jalen's doing okay. So in this particular game, he was 23 for 31. Like I said, him and Tyrod Taylor both passed for 279 yards. Both averaged 9 yards. Jalen had 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. He was sacked 3 times for negative 23 yards. His QBR for 75.6, and his rating was 109.5 for what it's worth. But he did have 1 rushing TD, too. So
that's 3 touchdowns.
Right, 3 touchdowns.
So how is his QBR lower than Jordan's? It's crazy. But as we speak about lower than, like my thing with the Eagles, like Jalen Hurts, statistically, this is not a good year for Jalen Hurts.
That's what they've been saying.
It's not. Like Jalen Hurts is 13th in the league in completion percentage.
Wow.
He's thrown the 7 most passes of all quarterbacks, 7th most passing attempts, and he leads the league in interceptions.
So but that's 6-1.
They are. And that's because their opponent's record is 42.5%. So 42% of the time, the opponents they played is going to win the ball game. As of today, obviously, 0-1,
not yesterday,
1-0. I mean, today. As of 0-1, 1-0, 2-0, you know what I mean? When the season first started, I mean, as Al said, we're in the first 33%. The first, you know what I'm saying, triplet of it. First third.
We didn't went to that second third.
So we're the first third, and as of the first third, the Eagles haven't beat a team with a winning record.
That's okay. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Eagles.
We will.
I think the Eagles going to be there.
Go Lions. I'm glad we can teach y'all a lesson and make y'all better.
You know what I feel about the Lions. I told y'all, it's Cinderella story time. And next week, too. If they don't beat the Raiders convincingly, I think the Raiders are going to come out and play well.
They are. And they're gonna
that's the Monday night game.
It's
going to be
about 25 points.
All right, let's get to the fun part of the segment from me. I'm wearing that jersey. Oh, so Mark, that team, right? They just Okay, so some of you young cats out there, right? I don't know if you understand what imposing your will really means on someone. That's what the Ravens did, right? In the first half, it was 28-0 by halftime. They first 5 drives, they scored on 4 of them. And we're talking long drives. So 7 plays, 75 yards, 11 plays, 68, 8 plays, 92 yards, 6 plays, 80 yards. And then they had a fumble in there. But Lions didn't do nothing with that fumble. But those are yards. So when you impose your will and you go out there, for some of you young kids, if you remember, if y'all could ever just go watch a video of Charles Barkley in his youth in the NBA when he used to just back people down and just back them down and just turn around and make the layup. That's what this is like. The Ravens was out there doing whatever they wanted to do offensively, and the Lions couldn't stop them. Okay? They were befuddled. They were just, that's imposing your will. Going out doing whatever you want to do on the field. That's what they did in the first half. The game was pretty much over. But then, as my man Smeeze always talk about, what did the Ravens come out and do in the second half? They scored on their very first possession to make sure. This is if you had any questions, be like, well, and then here's what I thought.
After a defensive stop from the Lions coming out on him.
Right, exactly. He know. I saw that, but I saw it when I checked all the highlights. But he's right. The Lions got the ball first, got shut down. And the Ravens get the ball and say, this is how you're supposed to do with the ball. They go down and score. It's 35-0. Before the Lions, they on the sidelines like, damn. Are we in London? No, it wasn't in London. It was in Baltimore, M&T Bank Stadium, okay? But no, that's imposing your will, people. And this is just 1 week. Ravens ain't win Super Bowl. They ain't win the conference. They ain't win nothing. Y'all know the NFL is a week-to-week proposition, but it's a week for me to talk major trash to where my Detroit players at. Because I was going around looking for them out here, and I couldn't find none of them. But I am in Phoenix, Arizona.
I said last week.
So I couldn't find no Detroit
players. We treating this game as a playoff game. Because that game is a statement game for us that'll make you forget about that Colts loss, that Steelers loss. You forgot about that. Now Ravens done shot all the talking heads. Oh, Ravens in the top 3. Last week we was 12. While we're in the top 3 now. What do we do so differently that we're in the top 3 now?
The way they beat the Lions down, man. So
if you're a good team, any good team can do that. But ain't that many good teams.
Right. And like we said in the first session, who you taking other than Patrick Mahomes, that is, Lamar Jackson, in the AFC? Tell me. I want y'all to know. If you don't watch him, watch him. Go back and watch the other videos. We build on what we talk about, people. So who you taking? Because I want to bet with you, and I don't even gamble. But anyway.
But how Lamar do though? Like
he did great. Oh, you want the actual numbers? Yeah. Oh, the number. 21 for 27. 357 yards. This is a hell of an average. 13.2. That means a first down, like when you're throwing the ball. 13.2 yards averaging per pass. You get that. Well, he had the one long pass to go.
But no, not just one. How you get that is how when you go 7 yards, 75 yards, 8 yards, 92.
He had 3 touchdowns. He had 1 rushing too, right?
Yeah,
4. Yeah, I thought I'd put that down.
The first touchdown, as the kind of the good call, bad call we kind of do, that was a good coaching call right there. They went for it on 4th and 1. And my thing is it was more of, normally I'm not with that call. Like, I'm always kick the field goal. Y'all heard me say, but as you said, imposing the will and like, you know what I mean? Like, if we can't get this 1 yard and we finna power it forward, like, we don't need to win this game.
Right.
And that set the tempo on that first drive.
To me, that's what football is about. If you can't line up and get 1 yard, not all that fancy bullshit. Just line up and knock the shit out of the man in front of you and get 1 yard. You ain't got to get 5. Just get 1. You don't got to line up 5 wide and shit and have the quarterback run around. You just get in front of him and knock his ass out and get me the yard. That's it.
That's it.
Anyway, that's it.
That's it.
That's what I got for you.
Speaking about yards, we could start it off with the Cleveland Colts game with that 1 yard late call at the end. Started off with that. That was 1 yard. That pass interference put them at the 1. And it still took Cleveland 4 plays to get in. But they got in. But P.J. Walker in that game, 15 for 32, 178, averaged 5 yards per pass, no touchdowns, 1 interception. The one trend you'll see, as my man Al was saying, like the quarterbacks that ain't pushing it is generally the quarterbacks getting the loss. They kind of almost starting to go hand in hand. You averaging 3, 4, 5 yards a pass, more than likely you're not going to get a W at the end of that day. You got Russ, which I kind of chimed in earlier with Russ. Same thing. Just, Russ is Russ, but at this point, it's now even starting to dwindle down even more. 20 for 29, 194. At least Russ was giving you 250, 300. Now he's struggling to get to even 200 yards. It's a sad downfall, but he got a ring. Most quarterbacks with a ring get you to the Super Bowl. It's a sad downfall. Next year, Russ will be commentating. Like it's just, it gets sad. Just
I had the section honoring Russ for a minute at the page, but I had to take it down.
We had watching I wouldn't necessarily say a great, but we watching the end of Legion of Boom. It's finally over.
It's true. Russ
finally over. Because I can't see him taking a backup job anywhere. I can't see him, too much self-pride.
Russ that pretty boy. Russ about to go to TV. Russ about to go to TV, man. Him and Sierra going to have their own NFL show. Okay? The Russ Wilson Sierra NFL show.
I can see it. I can see that.
They going to have their own show.
Moving on. Those two, Cleveland won, but Denver lost. The biggest day was pretty much Mahomes as far as passing. You know what I mean? His day, Lamar Day, was almost neck and neck. Mahomes ended up 32 for 42, 424 yards passing, 10 yards that average, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. The one trend with Mahomes this year is the interception bug. Like, he's almost averaging an interception or two a game, that's not typical Mahomes in the past. Again, you could chalk it to, the passing schemes, the throws, the pressure, a lot of different things. But either way, somehow, some way, you got to get that cleaned up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the one trend I do see with Mahomes this year. At the end of the day, the numbers, kind of like Russ, with you getting a full-on dietitian diet with Pat Mahomes versus empty calories with Russ. Those stat lines are going to be close, 350, 2-3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? High ratings, a lot of yards. So, but with Mahomes, the one thing that scares me is the interception ratio.
Because the best of better teams in the playoffs, it ain't going to fly.
No.
Because those interceptions are going to be points.
Then we got Tua against the Eagles, which last week, as much as I'm down on the Eagles, I'm even more down on the Dolphins. Like, I'm just not sold on the Dolphins. Again, another team, I feel like they're the Minnesota of last year. Like, it looks good until you get punched in the mouth. And then you don't know what to do. You're stunned, and then the body shots come, and then you out.
Get the ball to me.
The body shots is the injury now. Tyreek injured. Like, kind of missing days, hip going on. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? And you're not a cold weather team. You ain't built for the cold. So, but Tua ended up 23 for 32, 216, averaged 6.8 yards. Again, not that high average. Still not a bad average. I'd take 6.8 on an NFL Sunday. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 3 sacks for 10 yards. And then Dobbs, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, the thrill is gone. You know what I mean? Like, okay, as I said, he's a good backup.
We could reset. So, Cardinals have won 1 game.
They did.
Do you think the Panthers will win a game before the Cardinals win a game again? We can reset that. I'm just curious.
I mean, when the Panthers play the Bears, that's when I see the Panthers getting a win. And I don't know the exact Cardinals schedule, but they talking about Murray may come back and play. They may even try to play him on Sunday against the Ravens, which would be crazy. But I don't think he's playing. I don't think he dresses.
Right.
But that's the news in the media.
So you think about, okay, so like I said, reset. So will the Panthers get a win before the Cardinals get their second win?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna double up. Double up. Yes,
Okay. The Cardinals are that quirky team. They're gonna get another win.
they are, but the defense, they play good defense.
Yeah. So I think the Cardinals will get another win. That's a homer pick, people. I live in Phoenix, Arizona area now. Okay.
Not this Sunday.
Well, no, they not this Sunday. Okay, let's clarify. They're not gonna win this Sunday against these Baltimore Ravens. Okay.
No.
This is Ravens Central right now. Like I told you, I watch all them national shows, and they got the picture of the Jets cut out on the stage. I'm like, why are you still showing this nonsense? And you know, Mike Greenberg on ESPN, you know he's a Jets homer. And then on FS1, you got Michael Irvin and other cat, big time. What's his name?
Keyshawn?
No,
Sherman?
he's the biggest Cowboy.
Bayless?
Yeah, he's the biggest Cowboy homers ever.
Yeah.
Man, okay, look, I get these guys, they play for these teams like James Jones. Ain't never gonna say nothing bad about Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. He won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. So I understand that. But I mean at the same time, some of them they just not impartial. It's just like, okay, whatever, dude.
It's hard. Because once your heart involved, like the Ravens, once the Super Bowl, once your heart involved, it's tough.
I guess so.
It's tough.
All right, what else you got for the people, man?
Oh man, that's it. Just finished it up, dog. As I said, like at the end of the day, the numbers are going down, points going down. They kind of falling out of games early. Just compared to the first 3-4 weeks of the season when they could have easily been 3-0, 4-0 this year.
And what's the one team they beat? The Dallas Cowboys.
That.
Right. But I want y'all to know something about the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. And this is true. Jerry Jones sends out, they get the memo every Monday or every week, not to say nothing bad about the Cowboys. Everybody across all the spectrum.
We made it. We got one this past Monday.
And if you say something bad about the Cowboys, Dak especially, you better back it up and say something good about him at the end of it. Like it wasn't his fault. Or Dak ain't got enough talent around him. Or whatever. Okay? Just so y'all know. Because I'm just... Because Dak get more love from the national media, right?
Yeah.
Than any black quarterback. It's like... I just figured Jerry sends out a memo and says, hey, don't say nothing bad about the Cowboys. Yeah, well, I'll come get you. So anyway, people.
Hey, it's America's King. You can't talk back.
All right, man.
All right, buddy.
We'll get at y'all. May your team do well, and maybe not.